AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Washington Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal says for many in her party, it has been a rough week after Donald Trump's presidential victory. But
we will stand up, as we always have done, for justice, peace, and equality. And we will not allow the hateful architects of Project 2025 to run amok.
Longtime Donald Trump ally and former aide Stephen Miller has been named Deputy Chief of Policy in the new administration. President-elect Trump made his choice for nominee to be UN ambassador.
Calling her a smart America First fighter, President-elect Trump has picked a New York congresswoman to serve as his ambassador to the United Nations. It's Elise Stefanik, who spoke at the GOP convention this summer in Milwaukee.
It is clear for the whole world to see nothing, absolutely nothing will stop President Trump from standing and fighting for our great country.
Stefanik, who's 40, has long been one of Trump's most loyal allies in the House and was among those discussed as a potential vice presidential choice. I'm Shelley Adler.
Former New York Congressman Lee Zeldin is the Trump team's choice to lead the Environmental Protection Agency. Zeldin left Congress in 2023. He was among the Republicans in Congress who voted against certifying the 2020 election results. While in Congress, Zeldin did not serve on committees with oversight of environmental policy. In Indiana, former drugstore worker Richard Allen was found guilty of murder in the 2017 killings of two teenage girls who vanished during an afternoon hike in a small town. Abolitionist Harriet Tubman, who was the first woman to oversee an American military action during a time of war, was posthumously awarded the rank of general in the Maryland National Guard. Tubman was a scout, spy, and nurse for the Union Army during the Civil War. This is AP News. Veterans Day in New York means there is a parade. Here's the AP's Julie Walker.
Here on Fifth Avenue in New York City, people wave American flags in honor of veterans from wars as far back as World War II. 99-year-old Army veteran Carl Levy was in the Battle of the Bulge.
I feel great today because I'm alive.
That's also how veteran UD's Rafael Garcia, who retired from the Marine Corps, feels.
Any day above ground is a good day.
The three-time Purple Heart recipient made his way along the parade route in a wheelchair after being paralyzed.
Panama, I got shot in the leg. Kuwait, I got shot in the stomach. In Iraq, I got shot in the head.
At the Veterans Day Parade in New York, I'm Julie Walker.
The Miami Marlins hired Los Angeles Dodgers first base coach Clayton McCullough to be the team's 17th manager. Skip Schumacher and the Marlins decided to part ways. I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we got to discuss. Happy Tirawami greetings to Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news from a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good Morning, Marianas.
How do we get here so fast? Well, that's because we had a Monday off, but it's great to see everybody. It is Tuesday at 7:42 a.m. You're looking live down on Beach Road in Oleai, watching traffic go around in both directions with both lanes open, even that center one. That's a good reminder to let you know that, hey, that center lane is the turning lane, so you can use it. You don't have to be in one of the regular lanes of progress to try to take your left turn across the street. Use that center turn lane, please. Please. Yeah. Please use it. That's all I'm asking. I'm asking you, please. That's all right. We had a great weekend. We hope you did too. And, man, I'll tell you what, we have a lot in store this week, including maybe a little storm coming our way. And by maybe, it's coming around somewhere. No doubt about it. But hey, since we got traffic going on down there, let's take a closer look on what traffic looks like on the rest of Saipan today, because it is moving. So let's take a look to see how you're moving this morning. Generally looking pretty good, except for the little trouble spots. Looks like it's a little bit of a headache going through the S-curves on your way to Cagman. You can see it right there, folks, looking to try and take a left coming from Capitol Hill. A little bit backed up, but somehow people going uphill on their way up. Maybe they're stuck behind a slow truck or one of those little K-vans. Not me, though. I can still move. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the other parts that usually get people hung up. And you can see that it's happening where it normally does again over on Chalon Monsignor Martinez, where it meets Chalon Monsignor Guerrero. That's always a little hectic spot right around this time of day. And it's stretching all the way past Maddie's Barbecue. So if you have an alternative way to get around there, I would suggest that you do it, because otherwise you're going to be looking at your friend's taillights for a while. It's not that bad, but depends on what those taillights look like. Over by NMC, a little bit of a headache coming up the hill as people are trying to make their way up the hill right by the light by the college, but it's not that bad. Where you normally see it get to be a little bit more of a problem is right there at the intersection by IT&E. IT&E might be super fast, but that intersection's not giving the CNMI any love. No, but I'll tell you what, whoever put those red cones on that corner by Chalon Monsignor Guerrero and Chalon Polly Arnold maybe should run for governor, because that's probably one of the most brilliant things ever if you're taking a right-hand turn onto Middle Road. I mean, come on, it keeps that traffic moving. Well, it's not moving super fast right now, but eventually it will. Over by the intersection of Destiny, not as much fun. Because what happens is, while you're seeing that traffic flow just fine behind us over there, what you're not seeing is what happens when you get to that light where it turns into one lane and it kind of splits up, and it's all kinds of different levels. Oh yeah, there are levels to this, said whoever was designing that intersection. And it is just like that. If you're heading north on Beach Road trying to get through that AK intersection, God be with you, my son. There's a little bit of traffic, and it's not looking fast. How about over if you're coming down past AK from Chalon Monsignor Guerrero, on Chalon Monsignor Guerrero, and you're going to try to take a left or a right, well, good news is you're going to be slow no matter which way you go. And that's the way to do it. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be rude. Don't be laying on your horn. You can, though. Sometimes it's fun. It's a little stress relief. But it's not really cool because it gets everybody else all amped up, too. Let's just call it what it is, folks. That intersection blows goats. It's not awesome. So just be prepared. Next time, just think Wednesday, we'll leave a little earlier when we have to deal with that mess. We'll scroll over there. It's a little bit hectic over by ExoMart. There's always somebody who's trying to take a turn, and it gums up the works over there around the gas station. Well, today's no different. So enjoy that. It's also a little bit slow over by the tennis courts on Middle Road and Navy Hill / Micro Beach Road. It is definitely slow in all directions right now as we try and figure out which lane is the best one to do it. I know. Yeah, Michael, yes, the traffic on Saipan. There is traffic, believe it or not, especially on a day like today where it's a little misty, it's a little rainy, and it's not a little windy. But that is what we are going to get later in the week. Let's just go north a little bit just to see that over there at the East Drive intersection with Middle Road, it's a little bit slow, but just take your time. Don't try to catch two-wheel motion going around the corner when you're coming down Capitol Hill, because it's not going to do anything. It's not going to make you look really cool. I mean, it will. You will look cool. We will say that, but it won't be safe. And DPS won't agree with the safeness about the coolness part. They'll think it'll be looking really cool while they bring you. In fact, they're going to want to introduce you to all their friends. They're going to pick you up. They'll even drive you there. They'll take you over there to their office. They're going to ask for your autograph. They'll even ask for your fingerprints. Then they'll show you off to all their friends over at the correction center. So maybe don't take two-wheel action on your way down the hill, coming around that corner. All right, folks, that's what traffic looks like this morning at 7:47 a.m. in Saipan, where every day is a awful day. Oh, how about that? Is that our new catchphrase? Might be. Could be. But either way, folks, it is great to have you with us. Good morning, CNY, and thanks again for being with us for Good Morning Marianas, where we talk about the news, the sports, the weather, everything that's going on. We're going to talk about what you think is important. We're going to talk about some things that I noticed over the weekend and the day before, all that fun stuff. Remember, phone lines are open, 789-2323, 789-2323. This is your show. That's right. I mean, yeah, I'm on it. But, like, you can be on it. All you have to do is give us a call. You can WhatsApp us at that number. You can call us at that number. You can call and WhatsApp us at that number. You can video call. You can even do that on the Facebooks also. And you'll see today we're on YouTube as well. Woo, what's up? So you can do some streaming on your TV or at your office or wherever you are in this world. I hope you guys had a great weekend. My weekend was outstanding. It was outstanding because I got to, I had a birthday weekend. That was pretty awesome. I had like kind of nonstop all weekend long. Got a ton of stuff done. Had a lot of fun with friends and family. Got a little traveling in too. And then all of a sudden we're back. Went to Tinian for the Marine Corps birthday, and holy cow, man, I've got a video I want to show you guys, but it's so freaking long because it really is. It is super long because it's the Marine Corps birthday video. We'll show it later. It's like 9 minutes long. Like it's almost 10 minutes long. I will put it on later, but just not this early. But it's awesome. These guys had me ready. I'm like, give me a friggin' rifle. I'm ready to go. Like that is a pump you up message. And you listen to the verbiage that they use. Like, we are the most violent killing machines on the planet. Where we go, bodies lay in our wake. I'm like, holy crap. Jeez. Did we used to talk like? Yeah, we did. We used to talk like that. When you're in, that's just it. Like that is what you guys talk about. That's why I like these Veterans Day, but these veterans groups are so important because we can understand that language. We can understand what it means to talk in that sense of to regular folks, it just sounds brutal, right? But if you haven't been there and if you didn't go through everything, if you didn't go through that basic training and advanced school to hear like what they drill into you, because they do. They just pound that message into you. And then there's like a soft sell too, where you just use it all the time. Like we're like it just rolls off the tongue like, oh, everyday warfighter. I mean, even yesterday as the MC for Veterans Day, our guest speaker, our keynote speaker, Colonel Vargas, Joint Region Marianas in Guam. Holy cow. First of all, outstanding speaker. Great guy. A real friend of the Marianas, and I'll tell you what, this is a guy I could tell you, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him, but he's a guy I'd want to spend a lot of time with. I mean, he seems really cool. But reading off his bio, holy smokes, it's a bit unsettling. I mean, I know this sounds cool on a bio. In fact, let me just see if I could find it online because I only had the paper form of it because he sent it over. USAF. Colonel Vargas Fontanessa. Let's just see if I could just randomly find it. Okay, here he is. No, that's somebody else. Nope. Maybe that should be a Z. I'll put Guam on here. There he is, Rafael Vargas. Because I'm pulling up it came up his LinkedIn page. So he's done all kinds of cool things. I just want to see how deep into his experience it goes in there. If it says the same stuff that his bio says. Because his bio is pretty awesome, right? If you were doing what he's done, it sounds really cool. All the stuff sounds really cool from the military side, right? But in the bio, the way it reads, it's pretty on the nose about what he's done. And like I read the word nuclear about 10 times reading that bio. And I'm like, holy crap, nuclear launch capabilities, nuclear command, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, jeez, this guy's a heavy, right? He's done a lot of cool stuff. but it's not something that, that would be pretty badass to have on your resume. But for regular small island folks like me, it is weird to kind of hear it too. It is. But I'll tell you what, anyway, get past all that. But that's that language stuff that was in that Marine Corps birthday message from the Commandant of the Marine Corps. And their media team's outstanding. They did a great job of getting me. Just turned 50 that day. And I saw that video. I'm like, oh my God, you guys don't want me on the line, but I want to be there now, in that moment. And it was cool. I'll tell you, going to Tinian to spend time with those guys, with those fine Marines, was great. Marines and Seabees, mind you. It was. The Seabees were part of that as well. And it was great to break bread with those guys. Just literally spend some time and have some conversations with them because we ate some good food. The VFW here in Saipan, we bought a bunch of steaks from Payless, Triple J, Super Fresh, and they were great. They made great cuts of meat and everything. We took it over. We didn't even take it over on Friday. Sean Christian from Star Marianas hand carried this over for us when he was flying over, and he drove it over to JC Cafe where they prepared it for us. So they prepared it for us with all kinds of vegetables and just some nice gravy in there. They had a baked potato. Oh man! So first of all, the vegetables were great. But the baked potato was a loaded baked potato. Holy cow. I haven't had a baked potato like that in years. That thing was awesome. And so we sat and we ate that. After going through the whole ceremony and eating the cake that they made the Marine Corps birthday cake. And it was good too. But it's cool, you're just eating with the guys and talking with them about all kinds of stuff. Once you hang out with them for a little bit, you get past the, you're the guest and all that other stuff. You get to the real conversations. So what's it like these days? How's this going? How's that going? And then it gets into the real, all right, let's talk about what it's like to be in your 20s all over again. Oh, great conversations. Hilarious. Watching them joke on each other was just amazing. It brought me back instantly. It was friggin' hilarious. Where the rips are just never ending. And they were ripping each other to shreds. It was just awesome. And it was just generally good to be in their presence and do all that. And I know they felt appreciated that some veterans group from the islands came over there and brought them something fancy to honor them and the Marine Corps. But to really take the time to honor them. And that's cool. That's something you get to do. Anyone could do it, really. Anybody could do it anytime, all the time. But being a part of the VFW, that was one of the cool things that I got to do over the weekend. I else got to do? I mentioned earlier that I was able to be the MC for the Veterans Day ceremony that we had this year. And that was outstanding. Pacific Winds concert band in Saipan. Whoa. I parked my car at the AMP parking lot. And from there, I'm walking in. And you can hear just this band music. I can hear the winds, the woodwinds. I can hear the trumpets, the tubas. I can hear the drums. It was just awesome. Just awesome. And then you're walking in, and lining the sidewalk, the walkway, are the Sea Cadets all standing there in formation. And, oh, man, that was great. Lining the sidewalk and saluting you as you walk through. How cool is that, right? So Boss Alvarez and the team, that was just amazing. Then you get there and you get the folks from the CNMI Veterans Affairs Office, put that whole thing together. The standard stuff, right? So we had the speakers with the Red Cross, where we had all the chairs and the tents and the tables. Not many tables, but we had the podium set up, had the tons of water, which was needed because it was roasting out there. And it was just great. The Saipan Southern High School, JRTC, the Manta Ray Battalion. They were outstanding. In fact, today I've got my Manta mug. Yes, I bought this from their program, their arts program years ago when my buddy was the art instructor over there. They were making all kinds of Manta mugs. So, Manta, Manta, Manta. Yeah, there you go. So I'm drinking my coffee out of my Manta mug today. You guys were outstanding as well. And, great welcoming remarks from our governor and great preparation from our Veterans Affairs. Got to see our new Commonwealth Bureau of Military Affairs Director, Ed Camacho. Very cool. And who else? Man, everybody was there. I think it's one of the best turnouts that we've had for this. But that keynote speaker, Colonel Rafael Vargas, told a great story. Oh, excuse me. He has a great story about being in the Marianas, coming out here initially in like 2003 in Guam as part of a big B-52 and B-1 and B-2 deployment. And now coming out there and being with J3 with Joint Region Marianas. That is really cool. And man, they picked a great speaker. What else is going on? Well, no, there's no Navy. That was a good question. No Navy came in for this one, but they don't always come in for Veterans Day. Sometimes they do, and it's really cool when they do, but they didn't do it this year. No, we didn't get a flyover either. So I guess there was some miscommunication about it. It was on the program, and I checked with the guys from the Bureau, and they're like, yeah, we got a confirmation and everything. Well, and then after I announced the flyover, the Colonel, he's like, hey, we got a flyover? I'm like, that's what they told me. He's like, I don't know about a flyover. He's like, I don't work at Anderson, but like I would. So maybe there is, but I don't think there is. I'm like, all right, so there's no flyover. And I thought about it too late. After the ceremony was done and everyone was gone, like, well, we could have at least had a little bit of fun by saying, all right, now the flyover is a special plane today. It is the new B-21 Raider aircraft. This is an aircraft that's so stealthy that they say it's even difficult to see, but it's going to be coming from the south. So if you guys look over there, I guarantee you'll hear it, but you just won't be able to see it. If you look real close, you can see how it's changing. When everybody turns their heads, I was going to get close to the microphone and just go. Just to see how people would react and see what would happen if they would think that this stealthy aircraft just went by. I know they wouldn't, and people would probably just laugh. But it would be awesome if like people were really into it. Anyway, I thought about it too late. I thought about probably about like 2 minutes late after all the handshakes and stuff. Man, it's like that good comeback you think about after way after the conversation. That would have been it. Yeah, if you blinked, you missed it. That's right. It was a great turnout, though. There were a lot of people there, and there were a lot of veterans there, and it was really amazing to see. I'll see if I can't share with you some photos from the event because it was really outstanding. And I got so I can't use my personal Facebook account and the NMI News Service Facebook account at the same time while I'm broadcasting. So I have Ramel took a ton of photos, and he sent with me the raw photos from yesterday. And so he sent that link on the other page. I'll see if I can't get it. But I do have some good shots. I sent them around to a bunch of people. In fact, here, let me go. I'm going to go see if I can't pull him up on here. See, the thing is, when you're in your page account as opposed to your personal, it's a little bit harder to see. So hold on, let me see if I can't pull him up. Ramel, there we go. No, that's not him. All right, give me 2 seconds here while I look at my phone like I'm just some kid. Here, let's see if I can find them. Here, let's see. I can find it now. Oh, there's 2 M's. Yeah, I had that. Let's see. All right. This should take me right to him. Yes, it is. And let's see. There's one photo. Oh, nice. He has shot some really nice photos over the years, too. But at least I got one here. Hey, good morning. All right, so we've got all kinds of good stuff. But here, I'll bust this out and let you check this one anyway. Oh, no, is that last year? That is this year. If you take a look, I'm going to send this over so you guys can see the other side here. All right, let's just transition this over so you can take a look. That's the turnout. So that's a bunch of the veterans and the community who turned out. You could see, if you look, you see some all those folks who are saluting in the photo. That's because they were playing taps. And if you look to your far right on the photo, you could see the trumpet player, and he's from Pacific Winds. But I see all kinds of vets in there that I've come to know over the years. Here, let's move this up. There we go. Clem Bermudez is there. You got a bunch of senators, got a bunch of representatives, got a bunch of veterans for sure. Folks who normally don't make it out to all these kind of events, but they made it out. It was a very strong showing from all the veterans that came out there, and it was really heartwarming to see. And again, with the folks who were there, a lot of the folks who ran for office are in there, but not just the elected officials, but the elected officials who go every year. They were there, and it was great to see them. But yeah, I'll still say what I was going to say about it. Like, it's one thing about the election season that I dislike. When folks only show up to stuff and become all community rah-rah when it's election season. You didn't see a lot of the folks, who ran for different positions, who only came out and showed off where they were and all that stuff, doing selfies only during election season. There's some people who do it all year round, and they show up to those things all the time, and that's great. But it's like those empty things. It's like, well, I'm not running anymore, so I guess I don't have to show up to these things. Like, that's not what elections are all about. This is not meant to be a diatribe about that, but it really hit me yesterday, where I'm like, all these people who are going to all these things, talk about how great the CNMI is. I'm like, why aren't you doing that stuff all the time? Because it is great. And we do have a great community. And it was great to see all you guys out there and promoting us. And why do you stop because you lose? Were you only doing it because you were running? No. Just do it all year. It's great. It gets everybody motivated about what's going on in our community. Granted, I know if you didn't win, it's okay. It sucks. I bet. I know people who did not win their elections. And, they take a little bit of a hit. They feel a little bit empty. A little bit. And then they realize what they were in it for. And then they wrap up and they start getting ready to support whoever did win. Because we're all in this together. That's it. We're not a big community. We're a great community. But if we can't support each other, we're going to have a tough spot. All right. Well, there's a ton of stuff to get to. And I got a great guest in here today, too. And we're going to get to him after we come back from a quick commercial break. But I'll tell you what, it has been a great weekend, and we're going to transition into having a great week right here on Good Morning Marianas. So we'll see you guys. Just give us a couple of commercials of a break, and then we'll see you after this.
persistent to build. Be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book. We be a lottie where discipline and vision is built. We lead by example, persistent to build. Be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book.
It's a great day to be up 3-0. I'll tell you that. It probably is not great to be down 3-0.
I'm Brad Rosala, and I'm the owner for Commonwealth Communications.
And I am Jojo Alipuzu. I am the owner of Island Image and Ocean.
And this is our joint venture, Sideline Studios. This whole concept that we have of doing all these live stream productions and covering news and doing live shows and everything, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a great partner like IT&E, someone who can handle the bandwidth and provide it and then get us what we need when we need it, and then be a real partner for us for all the events, whether we're doing live sporting events, broadcasts. All of these things happen because of our partnership with IT&E.
With IT&E providing us with the fiber and point-to-point and even the MBRs, it's just a great piece of equipment to use when we're broadcasting our sports, our events, our performances, especially our cultural performances. And it's just great to share our culture here in the Marianas with the world. And IT&E has been there from the get-go.
The thing I like best about working with IT&E is how willing they are to come out and find a solution. Even for Liberation Day, we thought we had a pretty good solution for our live stream setup, and it turns out that we did not have the right setup that we thought we needed. That day, just before the parade, reached out to Paul and said, here's our situation. What do you think? He's like, we're gonna figure this out. While he's sitting there barbecuing, getting ready for the parade to start, he starts burning up the phone lines, calling everybody in IT&E, what can we do, what's the right solution? They left their families to do this stuff and get us the equipment that we needed to broadcast live. That's over and above. That's on a holiday. That's when he was out there spending time with his family.
That's why IT&E is just the best, just really in touch with the people and the community.
I recommend IT&E to everybody. Tell them the options are there, and you can choose whoever you want and then figure out what you think is the best. But when you're ready, when you're tired of having your calls disconnected or not having service, then you reach out to the guys from IT&E.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine, marking a path for the next generation.
All right, welcome back, Marianas. It is a beautiful morning. You're looking outside at it right now. That's Beach Road and Olei around the corner. You got traffic moving in both directions, and it is cruising. 80 degrees outside right now. Humidity all the way up at 90% at the Saipan International Airport. Looking at scattered showers throughout today. Partly sunny skies with a high near 87. Winds out of the northeast, 9 to 10 miles per hour with a 30% chance of rain. But I'll tell you what, there is a tropical storm watch in effect. That's right, but for now until further notice. That's it. Tropical storm watch. So get ready. That doesn't mean we got disaster coming our way, but it does mean that there is a little something brewing not too far away from us. We'll show you what it looks like on the old Windy app. Why? Because, I don't know, we got the app. Why might as well show it to you. It looks like a pair of eyes. No, don't say anything else. They're just eyes. But if you take a look at it, that's what our little region looks like right now. The remnants of two storms, one off to our far west, one off to our north, and then one just developing over to our west as well. But that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at what's happening over to our east. And that's the one that's really going to bring us a bunch of rain. That's what we're wondering, if it's going to bring us a bunch of wind as well. But if you remember what Landon Adlet told us, is that when these things happen, it's usually the rain that's the bigger deal. Right now, people are just paying attention to it. There's no doom or gloom or anything like that to be worried about. But still, it's something that we're paying attention to. And we'll show you real quick on the Joint Typhoon page, which I thought I had pulled up. Apparently, I didn't. The Joint Typhoon Warning Center. That's what he's always talking about right there. And you can see it's called Tropical Storm 25 West Manyi. And here is the warning graphic that they have for it. We're popping it up right now. And based on the most recent one, it looks like it's going to keep drifting south before it picks up just before the Philippines and starts heading north a little bit. So what does that mean for us? It means a whole lot of nothing right now. We just got to sit back and wait, because there's that whole cone of uncertainty. Well, we'll see how that works out for us. In the meantime, we're fine. We just might get some wind, might get some rain, but nothing crazy. We've got a call in to Landon. He's on vacation. We're going to see if we can't get him on to the show to tell us some good stuff about it later. In fact, I didn't want to call him because he was on vacation. That's the big deal, because he was traveling around and he only gets so much time off. And most of that time off that he ends up doing goes to charities and all that stuff. Well, anyway, that is what weather is going to be look like. But what we're also going to be looking at is what's happening here locally and how we're going to weather some other kind of storms. We're going to have some new folks in office in different positions. I'll just cough in the meantime. But we got folks in other positions who are going to be helping us weather other kinds of storms, and especially something that might end up happening next year even. But there's a lot of people rising to that challenge to help see us through all kinds of situations. And one of them we have in studio. It's not his first time here, but it's his first time back, and it's great to have him. We've got Kodep Ogumoro is here with us to start talking a little bit about what's going on with the schools here. And Kodep, I like you out of focus, but you're even better in focus. You let me give a little tap. Oh, look at that. So much better. I got you in focus now. Yay. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for being in studio with us.
Brad, good morning, and good morning to your audience. It's great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to come back on your show post-election and chat a little. But I wanted to start off with a joke.
Yes.
If I may.
Yes, please.
What do you call a one-eyed deer?
What?
Actually, that was
one of our.
That was one of your call-in.
Yes, and I only kind of remember. Man, a no idea. Yes, that's it, man. Oh, so you were watching the election coverage, man.
My family and I, we were all watching on a huge flat screen in my brother's garage.
No kidding.
And just following your coverage, yours and LJ's. It was great. But you had some fantastic callers.
Oh, dude.
That also kept the coverage lively. So that was great.
It was nothing boring. So that's what makes this whole thing unique, right? That you could do things that you can't do in other ways. Like if we were to, maybe you could, but it's not been done, right? So like who has two folks call in and then another one call back to call back against that other person. Like we were having a little scrap going on over there, and it was great. It was awesome. Like this is the best fun. Like who gets to do this, right? I got to leave to go do a pizza run. There we had jokes come in. We had calls. Some of the friends called in just to get a little laugh on some of it too, because it's a long night, right? And if we're just going to talk about, well, statistically speaking, precinct 3 typically, no. I mean, you could do that.
Great.
But yeah, we had some fun. And I mean, we're going to do it for the next election also. And it's a real community show, because the community is really a part of it. And I think when some of the people called, in fact, I saw TJ Manglonia from Precinct 5, and he was in the room when Rob called cracking on LJ. He's like, you look like you got some of that pizza grease still on your face. And I'm like, oh my God. It was great. It was great, right? So, but everyone was a part of it. So, hey, but you're a big winner from that night. Yeah, you won going away. I mean, it was a very decisive. You just crushed. I mean, you were the most popular guy out there. So winning's got to feel good, but Mr. Popularity.
Well, now the anxiety has kicked in, right? Because now it's time to get to work. But yeah, no, I just wanted to start off by saying I'm just so grateful and humbled by the support I received from the community to do this work that I threw my hat in the ring for. So I just wanted to express a very heartfelt thank you to the voters who opted for me to be one of the two to represent them. Congratulations as well to Macy. And just a great field of candidates, I might also add, former educators, and just people who really care about our children, about our youth, about education, and how we can work to support and enhance what's being provided to our community.
Well, you're going to have a lot to deal with. Now, when you officially start in January, right? But you're already starting to get things going. You're not sitting around waiting for January to roll in.
I'm not. It's very interesting because I continue to get a lot of input, and I do want to plug my website again, codep4boe.com. It's still live. The survey's still live. We still have responses coming in. In fact, I also wanted to just share some of the feedback.
Okay, that'd be great.
That's come in, and also continue to promote the survey. I haven't really decided. My committee and I haven't really decided on when's a good time to sort of end the survey. It might just continue, but I think it's a great platform to efficiently receive feedback from the community. In fact, even just yesterday, I got some thoughts from a parent whose child is involved in the national speech and debate competitions that are going on, and they had some concerns about the complexity of the waiver form that students and parents are required to sign and attest to, and as a result, they pulled their child out. I mean, I don't know the details of the system. I have some familiarity with the waiver forms, right? But I did direct that person to put their opinion, their comments into the survey, which they did. So we continue to receive feedback. But yeah, I see you have it pulled up there.
Yeah, I got 2 code-ups are like for the price of one right there on the screen.
Yeah, well, no, I just wanted to, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. The first question, which was a close-ended multiple choice question, it was asking respondents to select 3 areas of PSS that they feel the Board of Education should focus on. And the top response, very interestingly, was life after graduation. I think there's a lot of concern in the community, and well, at least from respondents, right, about what's going to happen to their child come graduation from senior year, and what opportunities there are out there, what options there are out there, what training, what's the next step, right? So that was really the top selected response, and then after that was teacher quality training and support. So that was very interesting. The lowest ranked response was actually, believe it or not, technology. I guess it's just so ingrained and so apparent and accessible now that I'm not sure why that wasn't ranked higher, but that's where it ranked.
Well, and these are some, you guys are looking at the screen right now in the survey. It says, what areas of PSS do you think BOE should focus on? You get resources, which textbooks, laptops, tablets, classroom supplies. Teacher quality training, which you were saying was the second highest. And I bet that's because a lot of teachers were in there too. I can see where parents are in there for sure. But like professional development, mentorship programs, teacher recruitment, retention. So that seems like you're really hitting the folks who are there with you right now. The top one, you said, is actually all the way at the bottom. It's the life after graduation, career counseling, college readiness programs, vocational training, job placement support, all that. Infrastructure is one, curriculum and educational standards, student support services, and coming in last, technology and digital learning. I'll tell you what, though, you're going to get somebody's going to come in last place, right? These are all big, important issues on their own. So
they are.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Like, I don't even think that that's like the least important to folks as much as it just falls through. Like somebody has to be last in this one, but these are all really important.
Very
topics.
good observation. You're right. I mean, it's not a reflection of the significance, right, of that response. So yes, absolutely. It's a function of who took the survey and how they responded. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Moving down to the second question, in your opinion, how can the board enhance its support of PSS? Overwhelmingly, I haven't really dug in to all the responses, but just a cursory overview. But definitely the bilingual program. There were a lot of responses about really support that the community, or at least the respondents again, would like to see in that area. It's been an ongoing issue even more recently, I would say in the last several months. So, part of my service in the community also includes serving on the Refalawash Advisory Council. And that's sort of the fundraising arm, if you will, of the Carolinian Affairs Office under the Office of the Governor. So I know that the executive assistant at the Carolinian Affairs Office, Mr. Felix Nogues, has received a lot of input from the community about their desire for there to be enhanced support, particularly for Carolinian language bilingual program. So we have to remember these are, these are two of the three official languages of the CNMI, and the public school system is mandated to provide instruction. Now, as to the level of instruction, there's nothing set in stone. But as a community with three official languages, it's the government's responsibility to ensure that there's education in all three.
Well, one of our viewers, Luisa, tells me that you just need to hang out with more locals, Brad, when it comes. She's like, you don't need the books. You need all that. You just need to hang out with more people. I'm like, okay, that's a good point. But when it comes to the classes and everything like that, so I didn't take a different language. Like, and like they weren't offered in school till like middle school, right? But also, there's no official language for the United States, right? So there's nothing that says we have an official language, but here we do, or we have 3. So with regards to that, I don't know, without an education background, as an educator's background, where the best place is to start. But it seems like the younger you can, the smarter it is. And some of the basics, at the very least, for little kids, maybe that little basic conversational stuff, like to be courteous, just to be polite to each other, sounds like it makes sense. But then after that, when you start getting more advanced as the years go up, maybe there should be a little bit of a higher standard for like the same where it would be like learning a language proper, right? Like how you would properly speak Chamorro and is you said the Carolinian language, is that just for me, or is it Rafalawash? That's the term I thought it was.
It's been evolving.
Okay,
but within the Constitution, and at the time, the Constitution was drafted, and as we were setting up our government and establishing the Commonwealth, the going word, vocabulary word was Carolinian, and now it's transitioned to more of a Rafalawash.
By the way,
interchangeable.
That was one of my jokes. I came up with 3 jokes. It was, how do Carolinians tell time? With the Rafalawash. So no, it's a visual thing. I always point to my wrist when I do it. I got 2 more, but that's different. I think I might have already used what do you call a fruit bat that likes to have a good time?
What?
A funny hee. All right, that's a stupid one too. Hey, you're not getting funny ones. You're just getting what you get. All right, so promoting the bilingual program. I remember maybe is it even 20 years ago? I want to say like maybe 17 years ago. 16 years ago. I don't know like who or if there's a real division within the back then within PSS that held the bilingual teachers to a certain standard, but that's evolved too over the years, where like there is a certain level of certification. I don't know that they have to do praxis or anything yet, but they're really using the expertise and their ability to speak the language, their mastery of the language. And if we can get the people who have the mastery of the language to also get that higher level of being able to teach and appreciate how that works.
Absolutely, actually. So I have a lot of family and friends that work for the public school system. And I think there was at one point over the last several months, it wasn't too visible and out there, but there was really a lot of angst, particularly with the lack of trained up Carolinian bilingual teachers. Mm-hmm. But a point was shared with me that I thought really made a lot of sense, and that was there's no doubt that there are many people that can speak the language, and this goes for any language, right? Mm-hmm. But I think what's really critical for PSS is your ability to teach it, right? And that's a whole nother issue. So again, and like I mentioned when I was here the first time, I don't have all the answers, but I certainly have a lot of questions, and I hope to bring those to the board and our public school system to help find answers where currently there are none. And yeah, again, I think it's, for me, this is my first race, elected race to join. And it's certainly been a very interesting experience, having people come up to you, congratulate you, people you don't even know, mm-hmm. That were also, vested in you and your candidacy for that position, and sharing that, their congratulations and their support.
Well, the people really came out for you at the polls. I mean, again, definitely the top vote getter for all of the folks running for the Board of Education. Just reaching out to one of the commercials, one of the comments we got on YouTube says, please get Hopwood fixed. 2 teachers sharing 1 classroom and no fences on the beach side. So that just came in from...
You know, if that's... thank you for that comment. I'm not sure how much news PSS has been putting out on the progress of the temporary classrooms, but I know personally that it's going quite well, and I've seen some photos. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you should. I'll let you know when they do the ribbon cutting if you don't already get an invite.
Awesome. Let's do it.
But yeah, it's looking amazing.
Well, I'm excited for it because I know a lot of the people in public schools, a lot of teachers, administrators, and a lot of our friends and family with kids and all the different grade levels and all that. And I know folks over at Hopwood, and that's not an easy process that they've been doing, and they've been doing it for years, trying to get that up to standard for folks, and they're getting there. They're getting there, and there's a lot of anticipation building for when this opens up. So I am looking forward to it. Do you know when it's projected to be opened up? I don't.
Man, Brad, we could chat offline about that.
Okay.
I'm not really in any sort of official position to be making any kind of announcements.
CODEP said today it's got to be open on this day, on this year, and at this time.
But yeah, no, really, oddly enough, I just find myself in, positions or situations where I'm, given information, and so there's a lot that's going on that I'm aware of that I can't necessarily speak on record.
We'll wait until January until you can make it official.
I'll say that I'm presuming it'll be before the end of the year. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, that's great. Hey, I love that that the bilingual program, by the way, just getting back to it, is going to be, one of those areas of focus because, when I first got here, when I was still walking around picking up shells and all that stuff, the guys were telling me, it's like, Brad, the thing is that, like, of the local folks, it's like, a lot of the Carolinians speak Carolinian and Chamorro, but the local Chamorros, not a lot of them are able to speak Carolinian also. I know luckily we have a bridge language that takes, with English to just take care of everything, I guess. But being able to have both of those languages, I think in the school, at least some of the basics, I don't know where they start, but I love the idea of them being able to do that because I would love for my kids to be able to pick up that kind of stuff too.
Right. I was really fortunate. I would say my level of Rafalawash speaking and comprehension is probably, wow, I'm going to have to put it out there. I want to say like at the middle school, early high school level, just because I don't speak it too much, but I obviously can carry conversation and comprehend. But I didn't learn in school. I actually learned from my grandparents and spending a lot of time with them growing up. And interesting connection. When my parents had me, they were in their late 20s. My mom had started serving in the first seat of my legislature, right? So, and my dad was a journalist for the PDN at the time, and so they were busy. So they had free childcare in my grandparents, and so
that's the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I credit my grandmother especially. So I was very fortunate that I had that opportunity, but kind of switching over to my mom. Just a couple days ago, I was kind of looking back. I certainly had the help of my mom's coattails in this election. I want to say, I mean, I've made a name for myself, but absolutely my mother's legacy. I want to also credit that very much with just my recognition in the community as being her son, as well as all of her accomplishments, and the rest of our family. I was waving before the election. I want to say several days before. I think the week before election day, and I was waving in front of schools, just by myself. And just, very flattering and humbling to have people even pull over to the side of the road, asking what I was running for. So I don't know if you ever saw my billboards.
I did. I drive past it twice a day.
So it's really funny, right? Because I thought we did a really good job, but it turns out we didn't. I got an email from an attorney friend the morning after the election, and he goes, congratulations on your win. I was a bit worried because you had a really nice picture, but it wasn't very clear
what you're running for.
What you were running
Yes.
for, and your name for that matter. So I go, okay. Lesson learned and tips for the next one if there's a next one.
They were great. They looked great, and everyone who knows you would see it, and you could say you got the hashtag down there and everything, right? But who's this guy, and what's he running for? It's just hey, it's a picture of Brad. Have a great day. We're gonna work forward on improving this community together. No, so how about that? That's how well known you were. And how that was great.
Oh man, that was. But I completely digressed from my original point, and that was that. I don't know if you know this, Brad, but my mom, she authored a constitutional amendment in the second NMI Constitutional Convention in 1985 that made both PSS and the college autonomous and guaranteeing them funding. That was her.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
My mom's done so much for the CNMI in so many different ways, but particularly in education. And it wasn't really something, I think when you start to look back. So last year, I want to say in the spring of 2023, my mom received a letter from this organization based in DC called APACS, Asian Pacific American Institute of Congressional Studies. This organization is based in DC, and what they do is they support capacity building in the public service space for the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. So you have a lot of college students that are interning in DC. I did that myself. I had the opportunity between my freshman and sophomore years in college. I spent a summer interning in DC for the Congressmen of American Samoa. But in any case, APACS, they sent my mom a letter and informing her that they wanted to present her with an award for all of her service for our community here. She was, she had cancer and, unfortunately had left us earlier this year. But so as a result, she couldn't travel. But I went out on her behalf. And I want to also recognize and acknowledge Congressman Kilili for joining me at the reception in DC where they honored my mom. Wow. Yeah. But a lot of that too was all of her service in education. So I'm so excited to really continue really her legacy in the way of and I think for my mom, a lot of it was not so much about, yes, absolutely, educating our youth, but really it was the second part of that was training, right? So similar to those responses and the highest selected response, right, from the survey respondents, it's life after graduation. So she spent a lot of time too in when she returned to the CNMI in training, helping to train up a workforce.
Man, so you got some big shoes to fill.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know you got a lot of support from your siblings too throughout all this stuff. I think that's why you had so many voters that were out there.
Absolutely.
They were out.
Yeah. Sorry, not to interrupt, but my family is so great. My siblings, my mom's siblings, my cousins, my larger family on both my mom and my dad's side from the Palawan community, and I do have some Chamorro relatives as well, so they helped out.
Yeah.
But yes, kudos to my siblings.
It was everybody reaching out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the all-star crew coming out to support you.
Absolutely.
So, man, so I just touch base real quick. I got a comment that came in from Tobot. He's saying that please follow up on the bus shelter for 7-Star Dan. It's been years since I've called and they came out, but the kids are still running home to hide from the weather. Hey, Tobot, I can tell you real quick, because I know a little bit about the bus stops. They are not from PSS. PSS doesn't actually build them, construct them, or anything. The spots are there, but that's all stuff from the community who does that, who maintains them and all that stuff. So that's why it's a really great opportunity to get like a little public-private partnership out there. If people want to get in there, the community, you can go out there and adopt one today. Not just you, but anybody. Now, don't go painting over McDonald's if you're with Subway, right? Like, don't do that. Like, it's not taking over someone else's. But, if you see a bus shelter that needs some love, you can go out there and do it.
Absolutely noted. And I would tell the commenter, sir, please visit the website, codeit4boe.com, and enter your comments. That's a very valuable input. And I do want to say, my goodness, even my time with the Tonopah PTSA, I got on the Parent Advisory Council. Bus stops were an issue back then. And you're right, I think it's a shared jurisdiction. But I do want to say during my time on the Parent Advisory Council, I think I kind of stepped on toes because I had an issue with some of the logos that were being used on our bus stops and whether that really supports overall, education and health.
Yeah.
So, I don't think, yeah.
I hear you. I absolutely hear. I know what you're saying. Exactly.
Trail off, ...
Yeah. It's a great point. By the way, there's so many different things to bring up with PSS. And the good news is that, you got a lot of, there's hundreds of employees in PSS, right? And thousands and thousands of students. And the employees, by and large, want to do the best things that they can for the students. They get their motivation every day isn't the paycheck, it's the mission, it's the job, right? They give their own personal resources to it. Talk to any teacher at PSS, you're going to find all kinds of them that have given a little bit to some kids somewhere for something, like if they were coming up short with some supplies, or even putting their own time into cleaning up their classroom, like the materials and all that other stuff to make up for some of the shortfalls. But, from what we're hearing, next year is going to be a little rough financially for the Board of Education. And people who are running for that spot, boy, it's not even a paid spot. You're going to be doing this as you guys get compensated for meetings, and especially if they're remote too, right? But this is not a full-time job, but not a full-time job you get paid for, but the amount of time you're going to be putting in is like full-time job kind of stuff for your passion of helping out the schools.
Absolutely. And I think this is where it's important to try and, approach everything with this sense of how efficient, can we be in terms of bringing in all the input and the concerns and feedback. And you know what, this is not to say, I think the public school system is great. I think, there's a great team leading it under the leadership of Dr. Lawrence Camacho. We've interacted a few times. I think I think PSS is, very fortunate to have someone with the kind of capacity that's needed for PSS, and I'm here to support, right? So, I want to do the best that I can to work with my colleagues on the board and make an impact, and not to come in and try to find mistakes and problems and issues, but really I'm there to support. So there's always this natural, I want to say a subtle tension between boards and management in whatever organization I've been part, and I'm still part of a handful. And so I think with that experience, I bring that to the table. I also, bring a network of colleagues and partners that I've worked with over the years. And I really look to making, some really good connections between, if they aren't already there, between partners in the community, partners that I've worked with when I was the first director of the Office of Planning and Development. And I think there's a lot of synergies and synergistic opportunities for the community to come. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, I'm excited to have you in there. That's going to be awesome. I mean, like you're a great guy. You're well known in the community. You've had important roles in a lot of important organizations, and now you're going to bring all that to PSS. That's pretty cool.
It is, and I'm excited. I'm very excited to serve.
All right. Anything else you got shaking?
Well, I just happened to run into, and this ties back to education, but I think one of the areas too that I really want to bring a spotlight onto is conservation, environmental conservation. I spent several years at MENA, which were very impactful for me. In fact, coincidentally, this week, the 49th U.S. Coral Reef Task Force is holding their meeting here on Saipan. So you have folks from all over the U.S., the territories, the freely associated states that are on island. But yeah, in terms of environmental conservation, really bringing more awareness of the Micronesia Challenge. Are you familiar with the challenge, Brad?
A little, not enough. I know of it more than anything.
Right. So it's, in a nutshell, it's really a conservation commitment that was made by all 5 jurisdictions of Micronesia. At first, when it was signed in 2006 by then Governor Fitio and the rest of the heads of the island jurisdictions in 2006, the goal was to conserve 20% of our terrestrial resources and 30% of our marine resources. And then I believe it was 2 years ago where they updated the targets. And by 2030, we want to be able to effectively manage 50% of our waters and 30% of our land resources. So that's really, really important, and it's something that that was a priority for me, particularly when I was at OPD, and it's something that I think PSS should be a very big stakeholder and have a bigger role in.
I don't think we crashed your site, but Tobot said that he's trying to get in there. Hey, so the code up for BOE, don't forget it's a number 4. So there's going to be 2 things I'm going to give you real quick. So first of all, here's the link for it. I'm just replying to you, Tobot, directly. And then, so you can see that on there. And then while you were speaking, I went out and posted the link for the Micronesia Challenge. It's the mc2030.org. And in fact, we pop over there to show you. That's it right there with the Conservation Challenge. I know it's a big deal. There's a Coral Reef Task Force stuff that's happening as well. And there's folks from all over doing all this stuff. And it's pretty impressive that this is Micronesia-wide. I mean, look at that.
Absolutely.
And there's just tons of people here this week to work on all of this stuff.
You know, Brad, it's very interesting because the Micronesia Challenge, you see it very visibly, I want to say, in the other 3 jurisdictions outside of the Marianas. So that's certainly a space that I think both the CNMI and Guam can improve in.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just the visibility of the challenge and all the great folks that are doing awesome work on the ground. And yeah, I wanted to mention that too as one of the many areas.
Well, I would love to see, you know, I don't get to see as much about what's going on throughout the rest of Micronesia. Really here, and then a little bit of Guam, but everything else kind of drops off for me a lot.
You're missing out.
Yeah, well, clearly. So, you know, I reached out to folks from FSM, where I'm going to try to get some kind of regular updates. One of my friends has good contacts with folks in Palau to try to work on, get like some regular updates and all that, just because I want to try something new about like getting like a regular kind of like updates from our region.
Brad, I'm your man. I can connect you with those people.
Yes. Well,
Let me know.
Okay.
RMI, Marshals.
Yes.
Can do that too.
Deal. I mean, like, it would be great because right now nobody does it, right? And how cool would it be, right? We just give each other a call on the show. You know, we could do a video call. We could give each other updates and just spread the word of what's going on. And it'd be pretty neat, you know?
Right,
So.
right. Absolutely.
And then I'll end up going with Gloria Hunter. She'll take me around to all the different islands on the island hopper and meet everybody because she is the ambassador unofficially to like all that region, it seems like.
Let me know. I want to tag along with you and Auntie Gloria.
Yes, there we go. And so Gloria, get ready. That's it. We're going to have to do this. Finally, we've been talking about it for years. She's like, no, we're going to go. I'm like, all right, let's do it. I want to do this. We'll see if I can get a good connection too. I could literally, a scaled down version of everything that you see here. I could take that with me and set up like a show, like in every little spot along the way, at least a video trip. So good times, man. Good times. Man, thanks for all the different updates. And I'm definitely going to take you up on getting those connects for the like the regional updates and all that.
Yeah, you know, Brad, thank you so much as well. I really appreciate the opportunity, and shout out to my cousin Carm Gumero for connecting us with this amazing opportunity, and it really turned into something. And you know, we're now big fans of your show, and of course, I'm sorry to plug KKMP, but I'm gonna have to plug them as well. But yeah,
great.
This has been amazing, and I really do hope that there are more opportunities once I'm officially on the board to come in and provide regular updates to our community through your platform.
Absolutely, and it doesn't cost anything. You guys are, if anybody's asking, like, this is not something that people are paying for to come on here and talk about what they're doing in the community like this. This is not a charge thing. This is totally free. You're literally, when I say we have a guest in studio, it is an actual guest. You know, you're welcome here to talk about all this stuff because this stuff people want to know. So it's really cool.
And an absolute service. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks. And I love that you're here. I look forward to having you in here. And like, all the time, man. Like, it'd be great to have you here and talk about all the stuff you guys are doing. And if your fellow board members start getting jealous, hey, how come you're always so famous on the? No. Bring them with you. You can bring the whole gang.
Thank you. I'll let them know.
All right. But thanks so much for sharing all this. Anything else? Any other shout outs that you want to do?
Again, just to the community for this amazing opportunity. and I hope that I can live up to the expectations. I know that I've certainly brought up the level of sort of like the visibility of the board in this race.
Definitely.
And so sorry to those of you who are too excited about that, but education is important. And actually, this is a beautiful segue. So a former colleague and who was here as part of the federal delegation for the 902 talks, I happened to run into them before they left and shared about my running. And, they also hail from another territory, U.S. territory. So there are a lot of, there's a lot of sort of shared history, in the way of being a territory and shared experiences and pasts. And so they were very excited to hear about my interests, because I think they know a little bit about my sort of background too, in terms of what's been guaranteed in our covenant as far as self-determination.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother show, Brad, by the way.
Yeah.
But they were very excited to hear, and they said, if you really want to help your community, this is the way to do it. And that's by improving upon education and teaching what's practical. And I know we didn't really touch on it, but I do want to say that, making our educational system here also more practical and relevant, right? Just because we get millions of dollars from the Department of Education doesn't mean that we have to learn everything that someone in Memphis is learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And shift more towards, and maybe I'm not seeing it, but shift more towards, and in the way of survey responses as well, get back to the basics of what it means to be an islander and living here, and what do our kids need to learn to be successful island inhabitants, and from a small tropical island paradise. And what does that mean? And how do we enhance that through education and make it better for everybody? So yeah, absolutely. Sorry, one last thing, like sort of a flood of all these things just kind of entered, but I want to also share that I have a friend who came to the CNMI after the pandemic as a digital nomad. That was a thing, right? Still kind of is. And then they decided that they absolutely loved this place and wanted to make it their home. And just were so blown away by the unique status that the CNMI holds.
Mm-hmm.
And one other piece of advice that they had shared with me was, you should make, the covenant is so special, and it really sets the CNMI apart from not just all the other territories, but the states as well. That was a pretty profound statement. But their advice was, get education on the covenant into the schools, even more so than it's being done now. So I'm going to do that.
That's great.
From elementary level on up.
What I know that you mentioned about we don't need to learn the same stuff necessarily in Memphis and all that stuff, and you also mentioned about like the basics of being an islander. I'll tell you what, I remember dissecting frogs when I was in school. I've done nothing with that in my life, thank goodness. Not my thing. But damn, if I could have learned how to clean a fish, right? If you live out here and talk about the different fish, the different sizes, where you should catch them, when you should throw them back, what's good eating, what's not good eating, like that kind of basic stuff. Holy cow, as part of your biology class, right? I don't know how you get the experts in to do that kind of stuff. Do you work with the local Fish and Wildlife? And then how do you clean a fish? You'll still have that same thing where the kids will still have to be hands-on with the fish, right? And take the ones that people don't like as much, which is too bad because I like them. Like the skipjacks, these people who don't want them, like I'll eat those skipjacks all day. Teach people how to clean them. and you're in a good, it's a good spot.
Amazing point, Brad. Absolutely. Back to the basics, right? And yeah, I got a lot of feedback too about getting more, and also something that I personally wanted to see more of, and that was how do we support more farming and fishing practices and education in the schools. Shout out to Tinian High School for having the only, active agriculture class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And how do we replicate that, right? What's needed to get our kids out onto our farm plots in Cagman? I'm also part of the Chief Aguru Foundation. And every year we hold a celebration on Managaha in September, honoring the chief for bringing the first Carolinian settlers here. Managaha is significant in so many ways, not only to our economy, but to our history, to our culture. There are medicinal plants there. So bringing more students there. Brad, we take it for granted, but there are kids here that have never been to Managaha.
I know, this is crazy.
Yes. So that's another thing I want to work on is I want to see how we can get every single student over there at least once, and it's supported by our public school system.
That's an excellent, field trips. That's a field trip. That's a great field trip.
An amazing educational experience on so many different levels. So yeah.
I'm in. I'm ready to go work for public schools now. It sounds like we got stuff. Just got to go through and catch up with a couple of comments. Then we're going to take a break. Boom, boom, boom. There's another one that says, oh, yeah, so Tobat saw that's why he was typing in FOR instead of number 4 for your website, Codep for BOE.
Sorry, Tobat.
And Mariano says, and be good stewards, not only from a global perspective, but more importantly, from a local perspective. I think that's with the Micronesia Challenge. And then we've got the Tinian needs to be self-sufficient. Shipping is very expensive. I'll tell you what, to that message, you got to see the size of the Tinian farms that's there when you come down Broadway. It's the Triple J farm. So to talk about being self-sufficient, they've got all those construction programs with the military where they're doing all that stuff. They got to bring in all these people to go work there. And so Triple J is housing like 300 workers and feeding them 3 meals a day. And so instead of just shipping stuff in from all over the other places, they made this giant farm for all those meals that they're cooking. Not only are they making enough for that, they're also putting them in the stores there, and then they're shipping stuff over here and putting stuff in the stores here. Man, I'll tell you, if that's not being self-sufficient, that's a great start at stuff like that. And we could be doing that stuff here too. There's so many things, items that we see in the stores that are shipped in from off island that we could totally be doing here. I'd love to see that.
Well, kudos to Triple J, for sure.
Yeah, I hope it works out for them. But it seems like this contract seems to be working out just fine. After these guys are gone, hopefully, I would imagine, excuse me, that the eventual revival of our tourism market will pick up the slack from those 300 folks who are eating 3 meals a day. So it could be pretty cool. All right. Well, I think that's pretty good. Is there anything? I think we got everything. You want to talk about world politics? No, we'll leave it at that. But it is good. All right. Codep, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Brad.
Only need to clear my throat like 15 times. Yes. Oh, so here's a question about school resource officers. It says, yeah, so it says, hold on, here we go. It says, should we introduce school resource officers here in the CNMI? That would put CNMI Department of Public Safety to good use, put them tax-paying dollars to use. Imagine with everything happening in today's world, I would feel safer knowing that there's an officer posted at every public school. No lazy, unfit ones, though. They got to be able to keep up with the kids.
There are, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how many schools have them, but I am aware that there are school resource officers.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in for those questions. We're going to take a break, and then this one will be a little bit longer break. I will get you the AP Sports while we wrap up some stuff over here, and also talk about one of our sponsors, Laddie Built 24-Hour Fitness. How many times have you made an excuse that you want to go to the gym, you're just not exactly sure when you can fit it in your schedule? Here's another joke. Who's got two thumbs and has made that excuse? This guy. Well, with Laddie Built 24-Hour Fitness, you don't have to worry about that anymore because they're open 24 hours a day. When you become a member over there, you can access their gym in Chalcanoa with all the latest equipment in the newest facility in the CNMI. So go on down there and check them out for yourself and tell them we sent you, because you might just be pretty happy with what they tell you.
Persistence to build, be the inspiration they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book. We be a Lottie where discipline and vision is built. We lead by example, persistence to build, be the inspiration they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book.
It's a great day to be up 3-0. I'll tell you that. Probably is not great to be down.
I'm Brad Rosala, and I'm the owner for Commonwealth Communications.
And I am Jojo Alipuzu. I am the owner of Island Image and Motion.
And this is our joint venture, Sideline Studios. This whole concept that we have of doing all these live stream productions and covering news and doing live shows and everything, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a great partner like IT&E, someone who can handle the bandwidth and provide it and then get us what we need when we need it, and then be a real partner for us for all the events, whether we're doing live sporting events, broadcasts. All of these things happen because of our partnership with IT&E.
With IT&E providing us with the fiber and point-to-point and even the MBRs, it's just a great piece of equipment to use when we're broadcasting our sports, our events, our performances, especially our cultural performances. And it's just great to share our culture here in the Marianas with the world. And IT&E has been there from the get-go.
The thing I like best about working with IT&E is how willing they are to come out and find a solution. Even for Liberation Day, we thought we had a pretty good solution for our live stream setup, and it turns out that we did not have the right setup that we thought we needed. That day, just before the parade, reached out to Paul and said, here's our situation. What do you think? He's like, we're gonna figure this out. While he's sitting there barbecuing, getting ready for the parade to start, he starts burning up the phone lines, calling everybody in IT&E, what can we do, what's the right solution? They left their families to do this stuff and get us the equipment that we needed to broadcast live. That's over and above. That's on a holiday. That's when he was out there spending time with his family.
That's why IT&E is just the best, just really in touch with the people and the community.
I recommend IT&E to everybody. Tell them the options are there, and you can choose whoever you want and then figure out what you think is the best. But when you're ready, when you're tired of having your calls disconnected or not having service, then you reach out to the guys from IT&E.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine. marking a path for the next generation.
AP Sports, I'm Denny Kapp. NFL Sunday kicked off in Germany, where Chuba Hubbard ran for a Sunday best 153 yards and a score as the Panthers won back-to-back games for the first time since 2022, topping the Giants 20-17 in overtime. The Saints snapped a 7-game skid, upsetting the Falcons 20-17. Taron Johnson's pick six was one of 4 turnovers forced by the Buffalo defense as the Bills improved to 8-2, topping the Colts 30-20. Correspondent Tom McCabe.
Indianapolis quarterback Joe Flacco threw the first of 3 interceptions on his initial pass, and Johnson returned it for a score. Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen, who says he could have played better, passed for 280 yards.
Just trusting the play calls, trusting the guys that were in there, and just trying to run our offense to the best of my ability. And again, I don't feel like I did that today. Wish I had a couple throws back, especially early on, but we'll take 8-2.
In Kansas City, the Chiefs hung on to beat the Broncos in dramatic fashion. Correspondent Greg Eklund.
The Kansas City Chiefs hung on to win 16-14 over the Denver Broncos and raised their record to 9-0. Chiefs linebacker Leo Chenal came up with the game-winning play with a block when the Broncos attempted a 35-yard field goal as time ran out.
It was kind of like, right below the palm. It was just a good push by everybody, and I got through. We've been talking about it for a while. Won one of those, and we did it in a big moment.
The Vikings overcame 3 Sam Darnold interceptions to beat the Jaguars 12-7. John Parker Romo booted 4 field goals in his NFL debut. Drake May topped Caleb Williams in a matchup of top rookie quarterbacks as the Patriots tamed the Bears 19-3. The Steelers take a half-game lead on the Ravens in the AFC East. Correspondent Greg Heist has the details.
Russell Wilson threw 3 touchdown passes, the last one to Mike Williams from 32 yards out with just under 2.5 minutes to go, and that lifted the Steelers to a 28-27 comeback win over the Commanders.
Guys just stepped up in key moments, and just another great moment. When you're playing a game, it's a collection of, 75 plays, and you want to see how many great moments you can have, and when we had that one in the key part of the game, obviously.
Pittsburgh has won 4 straight, including the last 3, since Wilson took over the starting spot from Justin Fields. George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth also caught touchdown passes. Austin Eckler rushed for 2 scores and 44 yards for the Commanders. The Steelers improved to 7-2, while Washington falls to 7-3.
Pittsburgh acquired Williams from the Jets earlier in the week. Jake Moody missed 3 field goals, but made the one that counted, a 44-yarder as time expired to lift the 49ers past the Buccaneers 23-20. Justin Herbert threw a touchdown and ran one in to help the Chargers toss the Titans 27-17. The Cardinals are an NFC West best 6-4 after knocking out the Jets 31-6. New York falls to 3-7. It's gone from bad to worse for the Cowboys, whose season is now on life support. Correspondent Bob Stevens was on the scene.
Jalen Hurts accounted for 4 touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 running, as the Philadelphia Eagles won their 5th straight game, 34-6 over the Dallas Cowboys. With the win, the Eagles moved into first place in the NFC East. They're now 7-2, while the Cowboys dropped their 4th straight. They're now 3-6 and are 0-4 at home this season.
And Sunday Night Football featured the Texans hosting the Lions. Correspondent Adam Spillane.
Jake Bates' 52-yard field goal as time expired sealed the Lions' 8th straight win, beating the Texans 26-23. Detroit overcame a 16-point halftime deficit, and Bates kicked a 58-yard field goal to tie the game with 5:01 left to play.
So proud of how the team responded, and I think today really showed the true culture of our team and the never give up attitude and all those things.
Jared Goff completed 15 of 30 passes for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Lions, but he threw 5 interceptions. C.J. Stroud finished 19 of 33 for 232 yards and a touchdown for the Texans, but he tossed in 2 interceptions, and the Texans did not score in the second half. Houston falls to 6-4.
Still to come, NASCAR's season finale and a full NBA slate. NASCAR's championship race featured a familiar face taking home yet another trophy. Correspondent Jerry Jordan was on the scene for the season finale.
Joey Logano became only the 10th driver in NASCAR's 76-year history to win his 3rd Cup Series championship, and with numerous years left in his racing career, he believes he'll earn more.
I tell you guys every year when the season starts, the goal is to win the championship. So as many years as I got left is as many as I want to get. I don't really know what that is yet, but I've still enjoy winning.
Logano not only won the title in NASCAR's elimination format, he drove away from his teammate and fellow championship contender Ryan Blaney to win the season finale at Phoenix Raceway.
NBA, the Celtics came from behind to deal the Bucks another loss, 113-107. Correspondent Chuck Freeman.
The Celtics were down by as many as 17, but they started off the second half going on a big run and then sealed off the Bucks in the final minutes. Guard Drew Holiday says they had a different attitude coming out in the third quarter.
I think we just picked up the intensity, knowing that they came out and hit shots, knowing that that's basketball, and when you hit shots like that, and obviously everything was going their way.
Holiday finished with 15 points against his former team, and the Celtics defense held Giannis Antetokounmpo to just 3 fourth-quarter points. He had 43 for the game. Jason Tatum had 31 for the Celtics, 23 in the second half.
The Bucks dropped to 2-8. 37 points, 18 rebounds, and 15 assists for Nikola Jokic as the Nuggets outlast the Mavericks 122-120. Benedict Mathurin had 38 for the shorthanded Pacers, who beat the Knicks 132-121. The Rockets outlasted the Pistons 101-99. The Magic bombed the Wizards 121-94. A pair of games went to overtime, the Sixers nipping the Hornets 107-105, and the Kings crowning the Suns 127-118. Steph Curry had 36 as the Warriors dealt the Thunder their second loss 127-116. The Heat edged the Timberwolves 95-94. The Grizzlies mauled the Trailblazers 134-89, and the Lakers down the Raptors 123-103. NHL, the Blackhawks skate past the Wild 2-1 in overtime. Mackenzie Blackwood's 11th career shutout helped the Sharks blank his old team, the Devils, 1-0, and the Ducks dumped the Blue Jackets 4-2. I'm Denny Kapp, AP Sports.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. More names are being added to the Trump administration team. Stephen Miller, an immigration hardliner, was named Deputy Chief of Policy. Former New York Republican Congressman Lee Zeldin is the Trump choice to lead the Environmental Protection Agency. And New York Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik is the choice to become United Nations ambassador. As Donald Trump prepares to take office, the U.S. top climate negotiator John Podesta says, "We won't revert back."
The fight is bigger than one election, one political cycle, in one country. This fight is bigger still, because we are all living through a year defined by the climate crisis in every country of the world.
Podesta spoke on the first day of the UN Climate Conference. On Veterans Day at Arlington National Cemetery, President Biden laid a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns.
This is the last time I will stand here at Arlington as Commander-in-Chief.
The president spoke about what his administration has done for veterans, and he mentioned his late son, Bo, who served in Iraq.
For all the military families, to all those with a loved one still missing or unaccounted for, to all Americans grieving the loss of a loved one who wore the uniform, Jill and I want you to know we see you, we thank you, and we'll never stop working to meet our sacred obligation to you and your family.
Bo Biden later died of brain cancer. Evacuation orders are in place in Nevada near Reno because of a wind-whipped wildfire. As money continues to pour into crypto following Donald Trump's victory last week, Bitcoin has climbed to yet another record high. The world's largest cryptocurrency topped $87,000 for the first time. Analysts credit much of the recent gains to an anticipated crypto-friendly nature of the incoming administration. Stocks finished higher, the Dow up 304 points. This is AP News. World War II veterans were honored in Washington at the World War II Memorial.
The Veterans Day event paid tribute to the more than 16 million men and women who served during World War II. Edward Towns, now 103 years old, was one of those being honored. He served in the U.S. Army. His 3 brothers also served in various branches of the military.
It means everything to me, you know. I enjoy being here and I enjoy being with them.
Some veterans in attendance received a Greatest Generation commemorative coin and were part of the Parade of Heroes with a wreath laying at the memorial's Freedom Wall. I'm Shelley Adler.
New York Mayor Eric Adams wants to move up the start of his trial on corruption and bribery charges so he can focus on his campaign for re-election in the spring. Adams is a Democrat. He was indicted in September on charges he accepted luxury travel perks and illegal campaign contributions from a Turkish official who wanted political favors. I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
All right, welcome back, Marianas. It is 9:22 a.m. here in sunny, kind of, partly, Saipan. It is a beautiful day out here in the Marianas. No matter what that weather looks like outside, don't you worry, don't you fear. But there is weather that's coming near. All right. If you like rhymes, then you're in good shape. Hey, we just got some info from the National Weather Service. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get Landon himself, but that's not bad because he's got a whole team over there. And he said that we can call their operations team to find out all the latest about what's going on with this storm. So we are going to do that right now. So I turned down the music a little bit as we place this call to the National Weather Service. We'll tell them Landon threw them under the bus here as it starts ringing.
Good morning, National Weather Service Guam.
Hey, good morning, National Weather Service Guam. This is Brad Rosala from the NMI News Service, and we're actually broadcasting right now. And
okay, hold on.
Yep.
Who's handling interviews with Saipan? Saipan Media? Okay, what's your number over there? Okay, one moment, please.
You got it.
Thank you for calling. All our representatives are currently on the line.
Sounds
Please
like calling
hold
the
and your
bank.
call.
Good morning. This is Patrick.
Patrick?
Yep.
Yeah, hey, this is Brad Rosala in Saipan with the NMI News Service, and we're actually broadcasting right now, but you gotta blame Landon. He told me I could just call you guys. I'm like, hey, are they ready? He's like, they'll be ready. You grill them. So
Absolutely.
Great. Hey, Patrick, we've got all this little doom and gloom floating around over here. We heard actually that there was recent changes. Rhoda and Guam got upgraded, and can you give us an update on everything that's happening with this storm?
Sure. That is correct. We're in the process right now of upgrading Guam and Rhoda to a tropical storm warning. Tropical storm Manyi is still roughly a little over 300 miles to our east. It's continuing to move to the west-southwest. It's maintaining intensity, and it is forecast to actually slowly strengthen as it crosses the Marianas. Current forecast track has it passing over or very near to Guam. But for folks up there in Tinian and Saipan, you remain under a tropical storm watch. There is still some possibility that this system can shift farther north. If everyone remembers back to last year, only a few models had Marwar going through the Rhoda Channel or northern Guam, and roughly 3 out of the 50 ensemble members were correct. So the point being, these systems will continue to do little wiggles and waggles, and the key will be, as it's passing, which way is it wiggling in terms of where it passes. But regardless, folks up towards Wireless Ridge and other areas of Tinian and Saipan with higher terrain, you're going to still, at the very least, see tropical storm force gusts. And again, if this thing, if later models suggest that it's going to shift north, or we see that on the satellite imagery, you know, you're not out of the woods up there yet by any stretch. So we're going to maintain the watch, tropical storm watch for Tinian and Saipan. Currently looking for about 1 to 3 inches of rainfall, locally higher amounts. And of course, seas and surf will increase as the system approaches. This system's really been quite difficult to forecast, to say the least. It's each new model run is a new wrinkle in the forecast. Just when I left last night at about 8 o'clock, just in the previous 24 hours, to kind of give you a microcosm of how fluid the situation is. We mentioned on Facebook Live last night, Brandon Idlet did, that our science operations officer, that the track had shifted south 200 miles in 24 hours. So the simple, plain message, and so this thing's west of us and moving away, everybody's still in play. And right now, Guam and Rota just look to have the worst conditions, which should develop after midnight, definitely by late morning. And then for everyone by tomorrow night, things will start to wind down.
Yeah, I know there's no guarantees in this stuff. I mean, but do we have a forecasted amount of winds that we could be looking at for this stuff?
Yeah, the strongest winds are going to be pretty compact near the center. Currently looking on the northwest through northeast through eastern side of the storm. And that's looking to peak right around sustained winds of 55 to 60 miles an hour. And then you could have low end typhoon gusts in that in the 75 to 80 mile an hour range, especially with any stronger showers or thunderstorms that develop. And it's possible the general trend we're already seeing today is for a continued slowing trend. And in general, a southeastward shift over the last 24 hours. Now, some of the main models we use update every 6 hours. And for instance, one of the models that just came in wiggled it north a little bit. And you're going to see these little changes. So that's why, like on our graphics on the webpage, we have that error cone where anything in that cone, 2/3 of all systems will stay within that cone. This is still, too early to say, will it hit Anderson on Guam or come over our weather office or go over the Rota Channel. All of those are still very much in play, but right now, again, Guam and Rota are looking to see the worst of it, especially Guam.
All right, and how about so? How far out do you think those winds are going to radiate? Like the strongest ones?
It's hard to say because all the guidance is saying once this thing gets west of us, it may start to go through what we call a rapid intensification cycle. Mm-hmm. But some guidance has indicated over the last 24 hours that could occur as it's right on our doorstep approaching. And similar to the track, the guidance of when this may occur, there's going to be little fluctuations in that as well. But at least a steady strengthening would occur. But with regard to the size, the reason I wanted to preface that statement or qualify the statement is this thing is pretty compact. But it's not uncommon as it goes through these RI cycles for the system to pulse out in diameter and back in, kind of like a figure skater that puts their arms out to go slower and then closer to the center to spin quicker. That's more or less kind of what happens with tropical cyclones as they start to go through an RI cycle. And there's a couple other signatures we see, but I would guess right now, best guesstimate is probably within 100 miles of the center would be the strongest winds.
Wow. Well, at least we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. I remember, I don't know how long you've been there, Patrick, but 2015 we had Sodalor rolled through, and that was a pretty compact storm that rapidly intensified on its approach.
Yeah, I wasn't here at the time, but I am very familiar with the storm and the lessons learned after the fact. This is really kind of a similar scenario, not quite as strong, but and this one's with Sudawar, it really blew up from a tropical storm on approach to Category 3 as it was leaving Saipan. This one's a little bit more steady in the balance in that. This thing's been a tropical storm. This system initially formed near Madro in the Republic of the Marshall Islands several days ago. So we've been tracking this system for a while, and there was all types of guidance all over the place. Would it go north? Would it go west? Would it go southwest towards Guam, which is looking more likely, but it's not going to be quite as sudden as a burst as it looks right now, as Sudawar was, but anything's in play. The storm was in its most hostile environment yesterday. So as it approaches the Marianas, it's just going to get into more favorable conditions.
Now, how about that? So it looks like it's just following in the path of that other storm that blew through. Will that take any of the thunder away from it? I mean, that is not an intentional pun at all.
No, that's not going to have any effect because that system was small and not that strong, and really to the southwest of us. It actually, didn't overturn the seas enough to cause any significant effect on upwelling. And just where the storm is now, you have enough time for the ocean to recover and the air mass to recover. So that's not going to be a factor with Manny at all.
All right. So I guess we basically, what should folks in Saipan and Tinian do right now?
Well, definitely continue to make preparations through today, through sunset, because obviously we don't want anyone out there doing stuff at night if at all possible, just for obvious safety reasons. But prepare for a lower end sustained tropical storm wind event, but which, right around, we'll say 40 mile an hour. But secure loose objects, make sure vehicles are gassed up and you have the supplies you need just in case this shifts north. I mean, for instance, if all of a sudden this thing turns and it looks like it's going towards Rota, that'll decrease the threat some for Guam, but conversely, it would increase the wind speed intensities and duration for Tinian and Saipan. So until this thing is passing, crossing the Mariana chain, I'd say definitely stay informed. We'll be doing Facebook Live again later today, so we'll have more updates on that. And we're updating our forecasts in terms of our public zones and maritime water, the coastal forecast. The surf at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. And we'll be putting out another statement over the next few hours with the new positioning. But pretty much everything is holding true that it looks like a strong tropical storm will pass over Guam or very near it. And for Tinian and Saipan, tropical storm conditions remain possible.
All right. Well, we're going to be glued to it. We'll look forward to that broadcast that you guys are going to do, and we'll have it on over here also. We'll amplify it a little bit. Do you know when you're next? When you guys are going next?
On Facebook Live, it's going to be sometime between noon and 5, but we will be putting a post out in advance at least an hour. And right now we're just kind of getting everything updated, getting our routine products with it done, and continuing to monitor things. I'm the Marianas forecaster today, but all of us are working, bouncing ideas back and forth. But I plan to talk with the Joint Typhoon Warning Center as well over the next few hours and compare notes. And it's just kind of the standard routine that we do. And then our management is coordinating with, Governor CNMI and Guam and Homeland and Coast Guard and Joint Forces. So it's, it's a busy time, but it's a well-practiced and balanced orchestra, if you will.
Well, we're going to keep following you guys. Now, the other thing is, I know that this is kind of the exciting time for you guys in your professional lives. Is there any truth that you guys have been holding off all the good storms until Landon left island so you guys can have all the fun?
Well, it seems like whenever management goes on vacation, more and more prone to it. So we've joked about maybe taking over-under tables on when Brandon, Landon, or Jenny leaves the island. But, we'll give Landon some flack for skipping out on this one when he gets back.
That's great. Again, just real quick, one last thing. When do you think whatever edition of this, whatever level it does get here, when do you think that we're going to get some of the strongest stuff here in Saipan?
Well, really, for all the Marianas, regardless of track. Now, keep in mind, I want to mention that, or reiterate that this system has been slowing down. So what I say now could be delayed a couple hours, but after midnight, things will start to deteriorate. We should be in the worst conditions sometime between late morning and mid-afternoon.
Tomorrow.
And then things improving by tomorrow night. However, if this system continues to slow down, we may have to push that timetable back 3 to 6 hours. This is really similar to yesterday. You're watching the satellite, aside from the data, you're watching the satellite hour by hour, just watching the thing, what we'd call morphology, or how it's behaving, and there's certain signatures we look for. But right now, late morning tomorrow through mid-afternoon is the most likely time frame.
All right. Well, we're going to be watching it all the time, and we're going to be looking forward to your next broadcasts, and we'll make sure we let people know what's going on, because you guys are the source between you and our local emergency operations center. That's where we get all the reliable info. So thank you so much, Patrick.
No problem. And yeah, we're in constant contact with them. So they should. I'm sure they're keeping well informed. And feel free to call back if you need any further updates through the day.
Will do. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Have a great day.
You too. Bye. And that's Patrick from the U.S. National Weather Service out of Guam, letting us know that around this time tomorrow, it's not going to be as nice out here. It's going to be a little bit rougher, to say the least. So this storm's coming through. It looks like it's something that you can start preparing for. He said that's the smart thing to do anyway, making sure that you're gassed up, making sure that you have all the things that you would have in case this thing picks up or takes a northern tick that they're not expecting quite yet. So that's it. So we're going to keep we'll be on top of this the whole time. That's kind of what we do now. And we do these shows, and then we follow the weather, and then we'll be here for all you guys. So again, that's tomorrow morning. Again, anything could change. It could speed up. It could slow down. So that's what they were saying, Lee. So thanks for your question. All right. So we do have a couple more things I want to throw your way. I just because I was all revved up by it, I want to show you guys what I saw for the first time when I went to Tinian, and I got to experience it for myself, which was the Marine Corps birthday message from the Commandant of the Marine Corps. I mean, holy cow! This thing was it's a no maybe, get you all fired up kind of video, and it's a little bit long, so that's why I was waiting till we got to overtime, which is where we're at right now. I mean, it's like we're 19 minutes away from 10 o'clock, so I want to show you this and tell me if this doesn't get you all fired up or maybe disturbed. I don't know, but as a vet and who's heard some of this kind of language before, it got me all like ready to charge through a wall. All right, here we go. Oh, it will help if I take it off of mute.
From building 1 Echo, move 10 meters to the northeast. Call contact on 3. Looks like vehicles.
We will cut our enemies down in droves. Our fires will be the substance of their nightmares. We will protect our brothers and sisters. The fields of the dead will serve as evidence of our passing.
Roger, complete. 3 killed.
I like Marine infantry, and I like the way they fought. They had shoes that none of you had. They didn't have proper shoes on and didn't have any shirts or anything. What do you expect troops are going to do at 30 below zero? Now, I was used to it, but you had kids in there that couldn't.
The Marine Corps is a force like no other. We have no peer. Our resilience is as unbreakable as our spirit. Because of this, we can endure any adversity. When faced with impossible challenges, we overcome and destroy any enemy in our path.
Our success in Fallujah was the individual Marine behind his personal weapon, but it was the Marine Rifle Squad and all the components of support that backed that squad leader and his squad. That was the secret weapon. You know, we talk about superpower weapons, all the capabilities of the nation. A rifle squad, a Marine, is the most fearsome weapon on the planet Earth.
We're the only organization that, at the core, we ensure that first and foremost, our Marines are trained to be warfighters. We provide those Marines the fundamentals needed to be adaptable. And if they're adaptable, they're resilient. If they're resilient, they can problem solve. And they can problem solve, they're gonna be able to make the mission.
From the challenges of boot camp to battlefields anywhere in the world, our Marines persevere and win because no matter where they're from, they possess the courage and determination to overcome any obstacle. Our non-commissioned officers, the backbone of our Corps, make decisions and lead from the front with ruthless efficiency.
The squad leader that I had across the 3 squads in Afghanistan they were brilliant, just very different people. But when it came to understanding the environment, understanding our equipment, and understanding the enemy, being able to adapt requires awareness.
In every battle we fought, the key has been decisive leadership carried out by our junior Marines. They are the difference makers, willing to walk point, be first through the door, and if necessary, make the ultimate sacrifice for their brothers and sisters.
When you're in a bad situation, the only thing you are allowed or permitted to do is to determine how you're going to fight your way out of that situation or scenario. And you have mentally prepared yourself for these things, and then they happen. And then they're difficult, but you're able to navigate through them because you are trained professional warfighter.
As the world changes, we are changing with it. We are equipping our forces with cutting-edge technology while also embracing our heritage, which shows us war will never change. America will always need Marines willing to fix bayonets and charge the enemy.
We're identifying what we think the next fight is going to look like. That's, force design and where we're moving. And it is very distributed in nature, to say the least. And at the entry level, teaching to think at a different level and to receive inputs and to process different types of technology only supports what they're going to do in 2-3 years when they are that corporal.
The Marine Air Ground Task Force is the tip of America's spear. Adaptable to any situation, the MAGTF is ready to support our allies and destroy our enemies anywhere in the world. Our Marine Expeditionary Units stand forward deployed as a naval response force, always on call, in war and in peace.
These were special people. They were incredible people. I'm just thankful that for a moment I got to know so many incredible heroes.
You always want another second, another minute, another hug. But, you know, when the time comes and they're gone, that's it. So what you've said, what you've done, who you were, that's what they're gonna remember.
The fallen didn't make that sacrifice for us to sit around and be sad all day. They made that sacrifice with the expectation that we would live in the fullest manner possible.
Do what you need to do to get back into the fight and know that the community is there, the brothers are there, the sisters are there, like everybody is there to, you know, to keep the fight going, to keep pushing the fight, because inevitably, like, we need everybody to be operational. We need, you know, that team to come back together and continue the mission, because you lose a teammate and you still have to keep fighting.
The enemies of the nation, we're the finest fighting force on the face of the earth. We've proven it. Coming up on 2.5 centuries.
Because you cannot beat that which will not stop.
I have 35 of the most savage human beings on Earth. We are a bunch of rabid dogs.
We will continue to be the most elite ground fighting force that there is. And I think that we continue this extreme sense for violence of action. Like, these Marines are going to continue to pave the way for our military.
Be ready, because if you're not ready, the Marine Corps is going to do what they do best, win our nation's battles.
For 249 years, Marines have distinguished themselves not just by their valor, but by their readiness to confront the challenges that lie ahead, no matter how daunting those challenges might be.
The next fight is on the horizon, and it will demand everything we have. Our reputation as warriors is not just a relic of our past, but a living testament to our nature. Our spirit is one of relentless pursuit, unmatched violence, and a steadfast will to win.
Marines, our heritage is one of victory through superior might and unyielding perseverance. As we honor that heritage and our rich legacy today, we must also reaffirm our commitment to our nation, our families, and the Marines to our left and right. We will remain vigilant, and every Marine will be prepared to fight and win, no matter the cost.
Happy birthday, Marines, and Semper Fidelis.
Holy smokes. How cool was that? I'll tell you what, I got all fired up when I was watching this with these Marines. I could not believe it. Not at all. So that was wild stuff. And now you got to see a little bit about what we were looking at when we were hanging out with these guys. And man, it was just really just blows you away. But it also kind of brings you in a little bit to kind of know a little bit more about like how these guys are, the guys who, defending the country and the guys who are going to have to go into harm's way somewhere where we're not. You got to talk to people a little bit differently. You got to say it a little bit differently and get them all motivated in different ways. Well, they absolutely did it with that video. they knocked some of the dust off of that for me. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up for today. It was a great spot, a great day today. Got a great guest in here. Got to talk about a lot of stuff that was happening here in the CNMI. And we're going to do it all over again tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll be doing it with better weather than what could possibly come our way. We'll be monitoring this stuff, and we'll be with the guys from the National Weather Service and the Emergency Operations Center to provide you with all the updates. When stuff is happening, we're going to be providing you with that info as it happens from the folks you want to use. You want to use the Emergency Operations Center, and you want to use the National Weather Service out of Guam. It's not the Windy app and all that stuff, although that's good. It's good to watch and it's good to have, but it's about making sure that we get those good, reliable sources giving us all the heads up. So we'll see you throughout the day as we provide updates about all this stuff. I want to say thanks so much, and we will see you guys again tomorrow morning. Well, I'll probably see you a lot later today, but for Good Morning Marianas, we'll see you tomorrow morning right here on the NMI News Service. I want to say thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings to Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news from a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good Morning, Marianas.